Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. This is your Wednesday Best Bets episode in the National Basketball Association playoffs. It doesn't work the same when I say National Basketball Association, like National Football League. It just doesn't roll off the tongue the same way. But to join me to give me some best bets for the Wednesday game between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers in a very suddenly interesting series, we've got Sean Little. He's from MSG Networks. You can find him on Twitter at Chicago Flow. Sean, what's good?
What's up, Matty? You just got to say the association. That works. That rolls off better than the National Basketball Association.
In the association. Also joining me is Jay Money, making his return this week. You can find him on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney. Jay, how you doing?
Everything's going good, man. We living right every another day of us breathing, man. It's a good day, man. So excited to talk some basketball with my guys.
All right, let's set the table for the Wednesday slate. Just one game because the NBA decided to get all funky with the second round series because they want to have everything set now. And so we have like this huge ass gap in Suns Nuggets while the Nuggets try and figure out what the hell they're going to do with Phoenix or with Denver. So anyway, Celtics 9.5-point favorites. Game one closed 10. This opened 8.5, got bet to 9.5 based off of the trends, which we'll talk about. Total 218.5, open 215, already up to 218.5. We'll go around the table. We'll give our best bets, and then we'll figure out the cap on them. Let's start with Sean today. Sean, what are your best bets for Wednesday's game?
Celtics team total over 113.5, minus 114 over at FanDuel. And I'm going to go a little James Harden double plus 155.
Like, Matt, yeah. Give me Celtics in the first half in this one, guys. Celtics first half. I don't really care what the number is. This is a spot play. And I'm bet a spot. I don't really. Well, I mean, obviously I care what the number. I wouldn't bet 10, but Celtics -6 in the first half for me.
All right. I'm gonna go. Ooh, I need to think about this more. I'll have a best bet by the end of the episode because my initial play is the under on Sixers team total under 104.5. We'll talk about why, but I want to be cautious with it. I want to make sure I get the right one. I'm determined for this to be a good round. We got off to a good start yesterday. Want to get this one right. So let's go ahead and start with Sean. Sean, the bounce back spot, everybody kind of knows. Like, this is not like a surprising thing. Teams in this spot just they tend to win and cover when you're down 0-1 at home. A lot of reasons for this to be a bounce back spot for the Celtics. The Celtics know they shouldn't have lost that game. In our series preview, I'm feeling really good about myself. I will give myself like a small victory lap here. Like, literally my cap was that I took Sixers plus 2.5 on the win spread because the Celtics are going to fuck around. The Celtics fucked around in game one. They caught a Sixers team without Joel Embiid. They had a lead. They let it go. They got a lead. They let it go. They got a lead. They let it go. Sixers pulled ahead. Sixers won the game. You're specifically taking the team total here. I'm curious why you like the team total versus a play on Boston.
Yeah, Celtics team total over 113.5 here. The reason I like it is it's because it's the only thing I can rely on with the Boston Celtics is that they can put up points. Now, it's all reliable for me. Anytime they're in a tough spot, they have seemed to put up big numbers here. They did the same thing to Atlanta when they needed a W. They put up 120 plus. When the Celtics are in a tough spot, they just are going to go out there and try to outscore you. I can't rely on them defensively, just like you laid out. I actually called a buddy with like 3.5 minutes left in the first half against Philly. And I said, we're going to learn a lot about if the Boston Celtics learned anything from the Atlanta Hawks in Series 1, is that they should bury this Philly team in the second half and win this game by 15 plus points. I didn't even get to the second half to figure out that they hadn't learned anything because they gave up and squandered the 8-point lead that they had, and they ended up going in to the end of the half as a one-possession game. I can't rely on Mazzulla to make adjustments. I can't count on Tatum down the stretch. The fact that Tatum and Brown last field goal, they didn't score. They didn't have a bucket, essentially, the last 6 minutes of the game is absolutely inexcusable. They had 3 points coming down the stretch. All 3 were free throws from Tatum. Now, I actually can see them not covering this number. I could see this being a close game once again, especially if Harden backs up what he did in game one. But for them to score 114 plus, I think is the right play here. In 16 games without Embiid this year, the Sixers have been giving up 118.4 points per game. That's 114 with him in the lineup. So that's about a 4-point difference. I like the bounce back spot here for Boston. They tend to fuck around and then like, oh, I guess we got to come out here and turn it up a little bit. I expect them to do that in game 2 at home. I wouldn't lay the 9. I'll take them to score 114.
Okay, so the numbers, like as we're kind of looking at this, I pulled these up. In the playoffs, game 2 at home, lost the first one. 75-19 straight up at 80%. 57, 36 and 1 at 61% ATS. So they cover there. I also pulled team total for you, and the number is 51 out of 94 for 55% of the time. The team in that second game does in fact go over their team total. So I like the play there. Jay, you're playing the first half. This is an even stronger trend. As we've seen, this is via Evan Abrams. Last 2 seasons, first half after a loss, 28-19 first half against the spread, 76-53-1 the last 2 seasons is that how that goes. That's the comparison here. So I just assume this is a pretty simple, like, no matter what the number was, you were just going to take Celtics first half because this is just the spot play that we take.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can make that 29-19 ATS after this one. Celtics about to come out here, win the first half by double digits. They almost won the first half in the first game, right? When the Celtics, I mean, that was the 76er spot, in my opinion. They came out ready. They knew that they weren't going to have Embiid. You could tell the way they were playing. They were ready to play the Boston Celtics. They had got owned by them in the regular season. And the Celtics, that's what they do. Sometimes they need to get punched in the mouth. But guess what happens when they do get punched in the mouth? They know how to punch back. They're at the house. Obviously, a must-win game for the Celtics. I see them coming out early and often on the Sixers playing defense the way that they did. I mean, the Celtics just weren't interested in that first game. That was part of the reason why I was on Sixers plus the double digits. And now I'm like, no Embiid, the Celtics are going to exhale here. Now, after I'm glad that they lost that game. Now this is a wake-up spot. Celtics will come out here ready to go, playing defense. They can get whatever they want inside the paint. They had 66 points inside the paint in that first game. I believe they had 40 in the first half. So they know the recipe to success. And sometimes just kind of makes you wonder. They know they can get whatever they want inside the paint. Why are you shooting threes late in the game, right? When you just need to win the game. So kind of head scratcher there. Obviously, Joe Mazzulla can get out coached, but this is a spot. This is one on the players here. Celtics will come out here ready to go early and often. I like the team total by our guy Sean there as well. That's cashing as well. Like I say, they can get whatever they want inside the paint. Start there in the paint, then start kicking it out to hit some threes. Celtics will win this first half by double digits.
Here's what I don't like. Here's the only thing I don't like. So we talked about, I went on Green Dot Daily, and we talked about this in the game 1 numbers too. This number's stupid. Like, this is a stupid fucking number. It was dumb at 10. It's still dumb at 9. It would be dumb at anything basically over, I think, 8. Anything over 8's dumb. Okay, I've got this modeled 8. The previous series matchups were 3. Okay. Let's put another point on it because it's the playoffs and you're playing starters. Let's put this at 4 and fully healthy. Joel's worth 5 points to the spread. That's what we're saying. We're saying that he's worth
the MVP, man.
5 points to the spread. Well, yeah, he will in fact be voted MVP. That is correct. He will be awarded it. 8.5. That's still 4.5. That's high. Like, Joel puts up the numbers. Joel, like, honestly, like, the Sixers record without him is really good. The ATS record is really good. Like, there's no way to justify a 4.5 point swing on him. There's none. So even if we say, like, I guess what we could say is, like, downgrade it to say it's worth 3, and then you get like a 1.5 for the bounce back spot, right? Because it's 8.5. And like, they're going to factor in that to the books are going to factor that in. That's why the first half line is juiced. Like, I'll just tell you, like, Jay's laying it, and I know why Jay's laying it, and I get the Jay's laying it. And when Jay makes these plays, Jay has been very successful, and it's usually when Jay comes in, like the number does not matter, right? Like there is no is there a number here that you would be like, no, I don't want that they could reasonably put out, Jay?
Well, I wouldn't be laying -9 in the
Right.
first half.
First
I know
half,
that
right?
it's an extra point, but let's just put it this way: it's an extra point for a reason because they've seen this time and
Yeah.
time again. Teams come out here ready. So, I mean,
And it hasn't
obviously, it
stopped.
could exactly. So, it's just it's a spot that I'll take 100 times out of 100 and live with the results.
Yeah. So, but my problem here is like, my inclination was just to lay the 9 with the Celts and just be like, let's just Celts gonna blow them out. Let's just lay the 9. They'll come back. But this line is inherently wrong. Like it's just this line is not accurate. So like Sean, I feel like I'm betting into a market that is heavily stacked against me before we get to the spot adjustment. Like just taking the baseline, I don't like this number.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they mess around. They're hard to trust. The teams that we talked about this last week, the teams you want to back laying 9, 10 are the teams that get out in front and then bury folks. They get out up 8, 9, 10, and they hang out and mess around on offense and don't run any sets and play a bunch of ISO ball. And then you find some of their best players on the bench, like Derek White will be on the bench and that type of stuff. Marcus Smart, if you watched game 1, actually realized what was happening and Tatum wasn't around and Brown wasn't doing anything. And he tried to will them himself offensively, which we know is not his game. He went to the rack, he got a couple and ones and was trying to do what needed to be done, but they just faded down the stretch. So yeah, I mean, typically this would be a spot. I think flat out Jay would have took first quarter, first half full game, but he doesn't trust that they'll bury these guys when they're up. He expects them to come out early and often like he laid out and take care of business early. The 9 number is spooky because every time it comes down the stretch, it's been a theme all year for the Celtics, offensively especially. They seem to get really tight. I think this is a game where they're going to put up such a big number in the first half that they'll be able to cruise to the team total. That's also why I'm looking at it. But let's be serious too, guys. They only hit 10 threes. I can't remember the last time the Celtics only hit 10 threes. I pulled up the last 30 games of this year. They haven't been down that low. They're always consistently around that 15 to 17 to 18 threes in a game number. I mean, there was a game earlier this season versus Atlanta where they hit 25. So it was overall a offensive poor performance, especially coming down the stretch. I expect Boston to bounce back. And the 9 is spooky because Philly is going to play these guys tough. James looked really good in game 1. That's why I'm looking at the team total here. I could see it being, a 120, 113 type game, and I end up covering the team total, but not the game.
I'm going to stick with what my original inclination was. I'm going to take the Sixers team total under 104.5. And I'm going to say why. Right. The last 2 seasons. So like, I'm trying to basically carve out this iteration of the Celtics, the post Brad Celtics, right? Like, let's put this run and separate it out from the other Celtics runs. So last season's playoffs and this season's playoffs. After a loss, they have held an opponent under their team total in 8 out of 11. Now, at 104.5, I was like, boy, that line is awful low for a 2023 playoff game. However, last season, we still had like comparable offensive performance. They only allowed 96 points in those games per game. And I was like, all right, so a lot of that's got to be the Bucks because the Bucks can't hit shit, right? They held the Warriors after a loss to 100, 104, and 103. Do I think that the Sixers without Embiid are a better offense than the Warriors last year? I do not. Like, I think I like the overs in this series because I think without Embiid, because of those things. So I kind of I like your play, Sean. I don't want them both. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Sixers under 104.5, and that's going to be my angle on this play. Like, that's how I'm going to bet the bounce back. I'll take Celtics. I might put them together too. I might do a Celtics first half money line team total under Sixers 104.5. That feels right to me. And that way I don't have to screw around with the number. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about the 9. So that's what we're going to do on that bet. All right, Sean, give me the cap on your Harden bet.
Yeah, James Harden double-double plus 155. Not a big play here for me, but I do like this spot. Harden played 8 games this year without Embiid, including the playoffs. He's had 10 plus assists in 5 of those 8 games. I don't expect the Boston Celtics to let James go one-on-one versus Al Horford and get switches anytime he wants and essentially pick out who he's playing offense against. And there was a couple possessions where he was able to get a very easy switch. The Boston Celtics let him get on to Sam Hauser. Anything he wanted, he was getting in game 1. I don't expect them to let that happen. I expect them to get the ball out of his hands as much as possible. And James can still play make. That's what he does. He's going to be that distribution Harden. That's why I like this plus 155 price. The PRA is 38.5, and it's juiced to the over at minus 118. His assist number's at 8.5. I think he could easily get 10 plus assists here, and I like him, of course, to score 10 points. So we're essentially getting Harden over or at 10 plus assists at plus 155, something that he's consistently done without Embiid in the lineup, including this year. In the one game he did not play against the Brooklyn Nets, he went for 11 dimes there. I like Harden to go back to distribution Harden. I'll take the plus 155 on James double-double.
Jay, I don't think that goes against any of your caps or your reads on this game. It goes a little bit against mine with the Celtics under 104.5, or Sixers under 104.5. Do you have any reaction on the Harden play here?
Yeah, I'm right there with Sean. I don't think Harden he's not going for 45. You're probably going to see a little bit more Robert Williams in this one, a little less Al Horford, but they'll watch the film. They will make adjustments. They'll probably do their best to try to go under the pick and roll. That way you're not playing that much drop coverage, letting Harden, like you said, pick out whoever he wants. So he can't be going up against Al Horford. Al Horford's the older player. He just can't be out there. I know Robert Williams isn't 100% with his knee, but they have to play him more. I'm actually thinking about some Robert Williams rebounds over in this one. I think he has to play a lot more in this one, whether that's tandem with Horford, but I don't think you'll see that many more pick and rolls. They're going to be all over Harden in this, so make sure that he doesn't beat them by himself.
All right, it's got to do it for buckets for your Wednesday episode. Good luck with your bets. Make sure to check out the Action Network app. Best way for you to track your picks. You get up the second information where the bets and money are coming in on. Both the fellas are in the app. We appreciate you guys being with us. My thanks to David Payne, our producer. We'll see you guys again next time. Tomorrow's episode, we'll break down the Thursday slate. Thanks for joining us. Until then, let's get buckets.